right, welcome back to another episode of the GSMC Wrestling Laureate podcast, brought to you by the GSMC Sports Network. I'm your host, Eric Rodriguez, here every Monday through Friday, 8 p.m. Pacific Time, 11 p.m. Eastern Time. Going to talk about everything in terms of professional wrestling on the GSMC Sports Network. So, thank you for tuning in. Hope you guys had an amazing, Tuesday. I know it is Tuesday. Oh, such a drag. Such a drag. Mondays and Tuesday usually are. You know what I mean? That's your standard days of the week that just totally suck. Tomorrow is Wednesday, then Thursday Night Football. Also, we have TNA. Also, we have Ring of Honor. And then Friday, we have SmackDown. And then we get to the weekend, Saturday, college football. Sunday, NFL. And it just all works out. It's just all something, something we look forward to, barbecue, hang out with family. So just, hang on, just hold on. Just hold on. We're going home. We're almost there. We're almost there, ladies and gentlemen. But thank you so much for tuning in to the GSMC Wrestling Laureate podcast brought to you by the GSMC Sports Network. I'm your host, Eric Rodriguez, and today on tap for you today, we have some WWE Monday Night Raw review. We're going to talk about some NXT. We're also going to talk about, we're going to talk about some WWE content being, basically erased off the face of this earth. If you're a Hulu subscriber, so if you're a Hulu subscriber, just know that tomorrow is the last day that you're going to be able to stream Raw or SmackDown for WWE. And then our fourth, we're going to talk about wrestlers with short title reigns. Last night we talked about Nia Jax. Potentially her second title run is going to be, much like her first title run, it's going to end abruptly and kind of unfairly. So we're going to talk about some of these superstars who have had that, who's had the WWE Championship, not the World Heavyweight Championship, but the WWE Championship. And, those who kind of, lost it too fast, way too fast for my liking. And in our fifth and final segment, every Tuesday we do this. We do, my Tuesdays today in wrestling history, where I drag you guys into my DeLorean, gun it to 88 miles per hour, and we go back in time on this date of September 24th, back in time. So we have a great show for you today, guys. Obviously, 110%. Make sure you stick around for it all. But before we do any of that, I want to make sure you guys hit up that super chat, that super thanks, those super stickers, because you guys are super, super duper awesome. Honestly, guys, we love each and every one of you guys. We love hearing from you guys, whether if you got a burning question or a hot take in terms of professional wrestling or just something you've been dying to get off your chest here at the GSMC Sports Network. We are all ears 1,010%. The show is all about keeping the conversation lively, making sure your voice is part of the mix. So don't be shy and drop your thoughts inside that chat. And if you really want to make sure your comment or question gets noticed on air, why not use that super chat? It's the $ below that chat box. Just hit the $ and your dreams will come true. I'm just kidding. No, your message or your opinion or your hot take will be featured on the show, guaranteed. And it's a great way to support our channel, guys. Here at the GSMC Sports Network, we need you guys. Obviously, we love you guys, each and every one of you guys who join us here daily. And, plus it's a great way to support the channel. So make sure you do that. Plus your super chats helps us keep the lights on for all the podcasts that we have here. And it brings you even more awesome professional wrestling content that you guys love so damn much, coming to you Monday through Friday. And we are absolutely super grateful for each and every one of you guys who joins us here on the GSMC Sports Network. Your support makes all the difference. So let's keep the conversation going. Send in those super chats, those super stickers, because you guys are super awesome. And together we will make sure the show is bigger, better, and stronger than ever. And once again, if the super chat is not your thing, you can always hit up the gsmcpodcast.net, hit up the tips and donations link, and tell me what you like, tell me what you don't like. Just remember to Superman punch that like a subscribe button to the show, follow the network. Here at the GSMC Sports Network, we do love a lot of peace, love, and positivity 1,010% of the time. Of course, criticism happens, so feedback is a gift. Obviously, whatever you guys have to say, we absolutely love it. So don't be shy. Drop in those super chats, and let's get it going. Let's get it going. All right, so we're gonna start off with some WWE Monday Night Raw. Overall, I thought it was a pretty good show. I really, didn't really have too many complaints about it. There was a couple of times where I was like, all right, it is Monday Night Raw. But, we have 2 more weeks to WWE Bad Blood. So let's get started. Obviously, it started out with Liv and Morgan pulling up to the Toyota Arena in Ontario, California, which is in my backyard. Basically, I can hear the yeeting from here once when, the main event, Jey Uso, but we're going to talk about that later. We're not going to jump over it. But overall, we have Liv and Dominik Mysterio starting the show. But of course, then you saw a brawl between Braun Strowman and Bronson Reed. It was, it was pretty intense. You know what I mean? Like, it gets to a point where, something's got to give. Obviously, Nick Aldis, not Nick Aldis, Adam Pearce. I don't know why I wanted to call him Antonio Pierce, the head coach of the Las Vegas Raiders, but he's not Antonio Pierce. Uh, Adam Pearce made a last monster standing match for next week on Monday Night Raw. Why they didn't do it for Bad Blood, kind of baffles me. I overall think, when you think of the pay-per-view Bad Blood, usually the two opponents that are fighting each other, they kind of have bad blood. You know what I mean? So I thought this match was perfect for it. Kind of a shocker that it didn't happen the way it did. Once again, it's Triple H is it's under the Paul Levesque era where quality over quantity. They don't want to do too many matches on their PLEs. Still to this day, I understand why. I get it. But I don't know, just do it for the fans. Just do it for the fans. Even though some people might not have Peacock, a lot of people might not be able to kind of stream content on WWE. So that's why you kind of have it on Monday Night Raw, the episode before the PLE. But we're now in this new digital era. You know what I mean? Like it kind of robs the fans of not putting this on a PLE. You know what I mean? You don't have a lot of people who have cable, who don't have the USA Network, who don't, have YouTube TV. So in that case, you're kind of relying on a lot of these main event matches happening on Peacock on the PLEs in WWE, and they just never come in fruition because, Triple H's philosophy. Obviously, kind of a backbreaker in terms of that. In my opinion, I feel like it could be done better. But we have the monster among men. Also, we have big bad Bronson Reed next week on Monday Night Raw. So Liv and Dominic came out. Obviously, they Liv Morgan stated that she took everything away from Rhea Ripley, which she did. She took the WWE Women's World Championship. She took the Judgment Day. She took Dirty Dominik Mysterio. Basically everything she loved and held dear, her family. And right now she's kind of riding high. She's riding high. But Rhea Ripley informed Liv Morgan that she's fully cleared to compete at WWE Bad Blood. So there will be no forfeit. Also, we're going to see Dominik Mysterio hanging from a shark cage, which is pretty cool. I get it. I like it. I think it's a decent booking. Usually, like you kind of have matches like this. Dominik Mysterio hanging above so he doesn't interfere. You kind of have those matches once when that's like the only guy to interfere and help you out. Kind of like when you saw The Undertaker did and you had Paul Bearer hanging from the shark cage. But it's different. Like there's Judgment Day. There's Finn Balor. Well, what does one guy in a shark cage really mean? And I think it means nothing. Like it just doesn't really make sense. I kind of hated this stipulation. Obviously, I feel like if Dominik Mysterio was going to intervene in the match anyways, then Damian Priest would come and kind of, be on alongside of Rhea Ripley, kind of as her like insurance policy. The only thing that would have guaranteed these superstars to fight head on, not have any interference, would be a Steve Cage match or a Hell in a Cell. Obviously, when WWE had their Hell in a Cell pay per view, which usually takes place in October, I feel like the Bad Blood, was kind of compensating for that. Um, Usually have one or two, Hell in a Cell matches. You had Sasha Banks and I believe Charlotte Flair fighting a Hell in a Cell, I believe. Don't quote me on that. But I feel like it would have been better. It would have been better to have these girls beat the holy hell out of each other and then, kind of have like a surprise, debut from WWE from women from the inactive roster, from the injured roster is coming back. Raquel Rodriguez, who's very close to Liv Morgan. They had a WWE Women's World title run together. Maybe she could have found a way to kind of, insert herself inside the match. and help Liv Morgan, kind of like when the Undertaker and Shawn Michaels fought. And then Kane came out of nowhere, the Big Red Machine debuted on WWE, and it ultimately kind of spoiled the Undertaker's thunder when he was fighting in that Hell in a Cell match with the Heartbreak Kid Shawn Michaels. So, I feel like this could have been booked better. A shark cage match with Dominik Mysterio hanging above, you know, as of right now, this booking probably should have been done earlier. I can imagine this at like I don't know, but they never really had their rematch, so I think maybe that's the reason why they kind of have it lingering over. Next, we had Sami Zayn. Sami Zayn defeating Ludwig Kaiser. Kaiser was in control most of the match. It was kind of crazy, but the resilience and the heart of Sami Zayn was able to overcome. Gunther comes out, making Sami believe that he's going to accept the challenge for the WWE World Heavyweight Championship. Obviously, that didn't really happen. He was kind of chiming him in there. I got to be honest, he kind of got me. Next, we have Woods wants the New Day to get serious. Xavier Woods wants, no more bootios, no more bootios, no more unicorns, no more pancakes. There's a time in your career where, even if you're 11 or I think you're 12-time WWE Tag Team Champions, it's not, it comes to a point where you're kind of getting older in your career. And it's different for Kofi. It really is different for Kofi because he's been there. He's done that. He's had the tag team success. He's had the singles competition success with Kofi Mania. Xavier Woods is kind of on the outside looking in. He's like, hey, like I want to do something with my career too. I'm getting to the age where, my glory days are behind me. And I really honestly believe that I have more to accomplish than the WWE tag team titles. So Xavier Woods makes it clear that he wants Kofi Kingston to focus. After what happened last week on WWE Raw, he said it's water under the bridge, which is kind of cool. Absolutely love the New Day. Hope they don't break up for no reason or, like I said, WWE, jumps the gun and, future bookings don't really work out with Woods and Kingston. And it just destroys both of their careers. I don't want that to happen. Woods has been, he's calling the plays. Kofi Kingston said, hey, look, man, if you're upset with me making plans behind your back and not keeping you, in the light, keeping you in the dark in some sorts of, situations, you're going to take control of everything that the New Day has going forward. They had a match against the Creeds, which they lost, unfortunately. Next, we had Dragon Lee defeat Carlito. Judgment Day suffers a loss. Once again, I honestly did not like that. I think, to kind of build this stable with Finn Balor and this new Judgment Day and the Street Trash, it was pivotal that they should have picked up the win. Carlito, the newest member of Judgment Day, he hasn't really quite proved his worth yet. I feel like, he is very, not very. He's good. He's good. You can put him in a match where, he's not that like jaw to the ground impressive. But you need to get Carlito going. JD McDonough, obviously Finn Balor missing WWE Raw was pretty big. But Dragon Lee of the LWO picks up the win again, which kind of leaves me baffled because once again, they're not going to push the LWO. So I'm like, at the same time, I'm like, why? So, much like a throwaway match, just kind of showing that Dragon Lee is the real deal on WWE. Next, we have Karrion Kross trying to bring out the old Miz. I didn't hate this. I didn't hate this at all. I thought this was actually pretty damn great. I want to see the Miz get to the old Miz. New Miz, he's cool and he's never really been a babyface. And times where he had been a babyface didn't really last long. The best Miz is once when he's out there trash talking Miz TV and just being an antagonistic moron, with an ego the size of California, the United States, or whatever, whatever simile works better for you or metaphor. I want to see this new side of the Miz because I feel like the Miz is still in his prime. I feel like he can still do some damage. So I like this move by Karrion Kross. I got to be honest. Next, we see Netflix executives inside the crowd in Ontario, California. So that's when you kind of knew that this show was going to have to be big. The Miz versus Bronson Reed. The match was interrupted by Braun Strowman. Miz was clearly upset. Next, we see Drew McIntyre saying that, how this Hell in a Cell match affects him personally as well, stating that CM Punk isn't the only one going in there, with his back against the wall, with the devil coming out. And, he says he's going to make him bleed a lot. So it should be pretty interesting. The Unholy Union gets beaten down. Sorry, gets beaten down by Damage Control. Then we see the PRF Vignet. I honestly think it's probably, the Viking Raiders. I think it's perfect for them to be on WWE Raw right now. I feel like they can definitely win the WWE World Tag Team titles. You saw Roman Reigns and the Cody Rhodes Georgia Tech promo, and you saw on SmackDown that got so many hits. You saw that happen. You saw viewed again. The Creed brothers defeated the New Day, which was kind of sad. Another Wyatt Sicks promo, and you saw Woods challenge Rey Mysterio after he confronted the OWO of interfering in their matchups. And lastly, for WWE Monday Night Raw, we have a new WWE Intercontinental Champion. Main event, Jey Uso dethrones the unpredictable badass that is Braun Breaker. And, I was kind of talking about this match yesterday on yesterday's show, and I was like, you know what? Like, it's a win-win. WWE doesn't really get the loss. Braun Breaker had a nice, 50-plus day run as the Intercontinental Champion. And, I think Jay deserves it. I think, some good bookings are going to come from this. All right, so now we're going to jump on into our next segment. We got some WWE NXT preview. We're going to talk about that. And when we come back. So, hey, do not go anywhere.
I feel like I'm losing my mind. Is everybody in the world blind? Please, Lord, give me a sign, a sign. I feel like I'm losing my mind. Is everybody in the world blind? Please, Lord, give me a sign, a sign.
I wanna be the greatest. Everybody on the fake shit. I look around and feel like everybody is the fakest. I make this every day and I'm impatient, hoping one day I blow up from the basement. Statement, the top is so vacant. I don't hear shit that I think is amazing. Waiting for my day when I'm playing sold out shows for 1,000 faces. Hey, give me that crown, get in my way and to be put down. It ain't your place, all this my town. If I want that shit, then I'll get it right now. I'm losing it, the noose it fits. Some losing shit, a stupid myth. You choose to live or choose to dip. You choose to fight or lose your grip and lose a gift.
I feel like I'm losing my mind. Is everybody in the world blind? Please, Lord, give me a sign, a sign. I feel like I'm losing my mind. Is everybody in the world blind?
All right. We are back with the GSMC Wrestling Laureate podcast brought to you by the GSMC Sports Network. I'm your host, Eric Rodriguez, here every Monday through Friday, 8 p.m. Pacific time, 11 p.m. Eastern on the GSMC Sports Network. Talk about all the action inside and outside of the ring. In terms of professional wrestling, we go from promotions from WWE, the AEW, the GCW, NWA, Stardom, New Japan Professional Wrestling, AEW, TNA, Ring of Honor. If it makes major news, breaking headlines in the world of professional wrestling, we talk about it here on the show. So 1,010% thank you guys so much for tuning into the show. And we're lucky to have you guys here. Just to kind of reflect on what we talked about real quick, we had our WWE Monday Night Raw review, and now we're going to talk about some WWE NXT. So, but of course, before we get into that, I want to remind you guys to go ahead and hit up that super chat. Whether if you got a burning question or a hot take in terms of professional wrestling, or just something you've been dying to get off your chest, it can be absolutely anything from any wrestling promotion, 1,010%. Here at the GSMC Sports Network, we are absolutely all ears. This show is all about keeping the conversation lively, keeping the party going, you know what I mean? Making sure your voice is part of the mix, so don't be shy and drop those thoughts inside that chat. And if you really, 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 really want to make sure your comment, question, or concern gets noticed on air, why not use that super chat? It's the $ sign below the chat box. Obviously, hitting that is guaranteed that whatever you say, it's going to be featured on the show. Plus, it's a great way to support the channel. Your support makes, helps us keep the lights on in terms of, all these badass podcasts that come your way, all the sports podcasts, all the content that you guys love so damn much. And fortunately, it's like a beneficial relationship. We love talking sports. You guys love talking and learning about sports. Send in those chats. Obviously, your voice will be heard. So the hot takes, yeah, it's by the by the show host, the anchor, whatever you like to call it. But overall, it could be our opinion together. So, which makes, I think that's kind of cool. I like it. You know what I mean? I watch a whole bunch of shows, on ESPN, Fox Sports, you know what I mean? And it's just some guy just like rambling on and on and on and on. This is what you should believe. This is exactly what this is exactly what would happen. And I told you this would happen. But, I like for us to kind of come to a consensus. Sports is all about debates. Sports is all about beliefs, excitement. And that's something that I definitely love about sports, and in this case, professional wrestling. So, yeah, don't be shy and make sure you drop those chats. It's going to be awesome. We are absolutely super grateful for each and every one of you guys who joins us here on the GSMC Sports Daily. Your support makes all the difference. So let's keep the conversation going. Send in those super chats, those super stickers, because you guys are super awesome. And together we will make sure this show is bigger, better, and stronger than ever. All right. So without further ado, let's jump on into our second segment. We got some WWE NXT. NXT is happening right now. I got it recorded. Can't wait to watch it. I have not checked a single shred of social media, TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, whatever, you know what I mean? I've not checked it. So, I'm in the dark. Definitely in the dark. All right, so we got some WWE NXT. We got the Grayson Waller effect. We got Grayson Waller and Austin Theory, the former WWE Tag Team Champions, are going to confront their challengers in 2 weeks, Nathan Frazier and Axiom. I can't wait for this face-off. I would hate, and I feel like WWE NXT feels the same way. Axiom and Frazier, they're perfect. They're perfect right now. The fans are totally into them. It took a little while, even on my behalf and my perspective, as a WWE fan, to kind of buy fully into them. But now that I am, watching every single one of their matches keeps me on the edge of my seat. I'm always, I love the way they fight. I love the way they're doing a tag team. And if you want to give the belts to Austin Theory and Grayson Waller because they're on, the WWE SmackDown main roster, these guys are basically glorified jobbers in the tag team division. I honestly don't think they deserve a shot at Frazier or Axiom's NXT World Tag Team titles. No, I don't. The best thing, the best thing about this tag team is, people anticipating not them winning a championship. It's them breaking up. It's not them, establishing glory in NXT. It's about what's next for Austin Theory. Grayson Waller, yeah, whenever he's inside the ring, I gotta be honest, watching it, kind of loses me. I know at the same time, obviously he's in, top tier shape compared to me. I'm not trying to say like, oh, like I can't do what, I can do what he does. You know what I mean? It's not about that. Grayson Waller right now, ever since he made the jump from NXT to WWE, it doesn't really fit. You don't really have that Grayson Waller effect show happening every week, which I kind of thought it was going to. To the point where he can, invite some guests, kind of have that be that next lean on exactly where he's going to go to next, whether if it's the United States Championship or it's challenging Cody Rhodes. You know what I mean? Having Austin Theory tag with Grayson Waller, both very, very, very impressive singles superstars. I feel like ultimately it was a bad move for both of them. It was a bad move because now we're waiting for Austin Theory to leave Grayson Waller. We're waiting for Grayson Waller to turn his back on Austin Theory and become this total heel that we want to hate so damn much. I feel like this booking, is if these guys don't break up at the end of the night, I gotta be honest, I'm gonna be a little upset. Just a little. Just a little. You know what I mean? Probably the size of New Hampshire on the United States. You know, just a little. Like we're not Texas, you know, not a whole lot. Or California. New Hampshire. Just New Hampshire. So I definitely think you know, something big has to happen between these two guys. And together, I don't think it's possible. Apart, I feel like it's better. That's just my opinion. That's just my opinion. Next, we have Rich Holland hoping to complete the sweep of Chase U. We got Riley Osborne. Obviously, he beat the holy hell out of Andre Chase, Duke Hudson, and the last person on the list is the smallest dude, which is kind of crazy. You know, Riley Osborne. You know, this match is going to be exactly what you guys anticipate it to be. If Rich Holland doesn't completely destroy Riley Osborne, you know, I'm gonna quit on professional wrestling. I'm just kidding. No, I think what you saw with Andre Chase and Hudson, obviously, it was very good stuff. And you know, of course, you got Thea Hale on the sidelines, which the girl, you know, she deserves an Oscar. Man, this girl can act. It's crazy. Like you literally saw the fear in her eyes, the deception, the heartbreak, the betrayal that Rich Holland, she deserves she deserves an Oscar. That's crazy. Absolutely crazy. But Rich Holland is going to kill Riley Osborne. Sorry, Thea, but it's true. Oh, it's true. It's damn true. I feel like it. I like it. I gotta be honest. You know, when Rich Holland joined Chase U, every single chance I got, I was like, all right, he's gonna turn here. Oh, okay. Duke Hudson is, you know, kind of pushing him a little bit. He's gonna turn here. Never really happened. Never really happened. And I gotta be honest, when they finally did, I kind of thought to myself, I was like, man, this is kind of stupid. You know, I feel like it should have happened earlier, but now that it kind of happened after they lost to Axiom and Nathan Frazier when they invoked their rematch clause, you know, I kind of thought it was dumb, you know, but you know, it is what it is. I'm a wrestling fan, so you know, you just got to accept it. Next, we have an NXT North American Women's title match between Kaylani Jordan, the defending champion, against Ren Sinclair. Love Ren Sinclair, the way she challenged Kaylani Jordan, came up and be like, Charlie Dempsey, you know, he told me that I need to prove myself as a member of the No Quarter Catch crew. And Kaylani Jordan's like, oh yeah? And she was like, bam! And then she dipped. She ran away. I gotta be honest, it was funny as hell. I laughed. I chuckled. Gotta be honest, you know, I probably hit a decimal or two. I was like, you know, that giggle. You know, I thought it was kind of funny. I thought it was super funny. Obviously, Kaylani Jordan is not going to drop the championship tonight. Ren Sinclair, you know, she's going to lose. More or less one of those matches where even if you win or lose in the match, she's going to be pretty impressive. She's going to be pretty damn impressive. It's going to end with both of them shaking hands, probably in that kind of nature. And I think it's perfect. I think it's perfect for Sinclair's career, also Jordan's. Oro Mensah takes on Lexis King. We have Wendy Chu teaming up with Rosemary, taking on Carmen Petrovich and Brinley Reese. Hank and Tank take on the OC, and we have an NXT press conference. We have Ethan Page and Trick Williams, Julia and Roxanne Perez, Wesley and Zachary Wentz. Once again, you kind of see TKO rear its face in WWE bookings. You kind of have like a UFC kind of feel. WWE never had press conferences, you know, in their, you know, after their titles and stuff like that. I feel like it is more or less kind of like a UFC thing, especially pre-match, 1,010%, not really post-match, you know, maybe occasionally post-match, but, you know, on UFC, you really see like, you know, pre-match crap talking, pictures taken. You kind of have them, you know, you kind of see them have their pose and stuff like that. So, you know, I feel like this is gonna be good. It's gonna be great for NXT. I feel like, you know, obviously a lot of good things happening with their debut on the CW. So I can't wait to see it. All right, guys, do not go anywhere. Now we're going to talk about some, not this. No, I hate it how it does that. We're going to talk about WWE content leaving Hulu. So if you're a Hulu subscriber and if you rely on it to watch SmackDown and Raw, you know, I'm honestly a little concerned. We're going to dive into the subject matter when we come back. So, hey, do not go anywhere.
Looking for your daily fix of sports talk without having to pay for it? GSMC Sports Network is available on YouTube. Just search GSMC Sports Network. Get your fix of daily sports talk shows on YouTube, absolutely free. NFL, college football, NBA, MLB, MMA, UFC, fantasy football, and so much more. GSMC Sports Network has shows running all day long, with new sports shows starting every 2 hours. Just like on your favorite cable sports channel, except GSMC Sports Network is absolutely free. Just search GSMC Sports Network on YouTube to catch one of your new favorite shows, like the GSMC College Football Podcast, Chip Shot Football Podcast, Hoops and Heels Women's Sports Podcast, GSMC Basketball Podcast, and so many more. Check it out for yourself. GSMC Sports Network, now available on YouTube absolutely free. Search GSMC Sports Network on YouTube right now.
And we are back with the GSMC Wrestling Laureate podcast, brought to you with the GSMC Sports Network. I'm your host, Eric Rodriguez, here every Monday through Friday, 8 p.m. Pacific Time, 11 p.m. Eastern Time, here to talk about everything in terms of professional wrestling, all the action inside and outside of the ring. We talk about backstage curtain drama, maybe some crazy stuff happening behind the curtain. We talk about promotions from WWE to AEW, TNA to Ring of Honor, GCW to the NWA, Stardom, New Japan Professional Wrestling, the CMLL. If it makes major news headlines in the world of professional wrestling, we cover it here on this show. So make sure you tune in every Monday through Friday, 8 p.m. Pacific Time, 11 p.m. Eastern on the GSMC Sports Network. So just kind of reflect on what we talked about real quick. We talked about our WWE Monday Night Raw review. We had our WWE NXT preview. We, now we're going to talk about some, WWE content leaving Hulu. It should be, pretty crazy. Should be pretty interesting. But before we get into any of that, I want to remind you guys to use the tips and donations link at the gsmcpodcast.net. Shoot me your comments, questions, and concerns. And remember to Superman punch that like and subscribe button to the show. Also, like the show, like the network. And, give you the Eric Rodriguez guarantee that you guys will never, ever, ever regret subscribing to the GSMC Sports Network. We have a lot of awesome podcasters, a lot of sports to talk. Obviously, if you have a burning question, hit up that super chat. It's the $sign below that chat box right there. And whatever you have to say, it's going to be featured on the show. And it makes it 1,010% clear. Just love hearing what you guys have to say. Love hearing your hot takes. We're absolutely grateful for each and every one of you guys. So let's keep this conversation going. Let's keep this party going. And together we will make sure this podcast is bigger, better, and stronger than ever. So send in those super chats, those super stickers because you guys are super awesome. And it's going to be, it's like a match made in heaven. So don't be shy. It's going to be awesome. Obviously, a lot of, a lot of activity, a lot of interaction. A lot of, chats keeps the podcast going, keeps it fresh, keeps it our podcast. I don't want to be up here rambling the whole time. Got to be honest. I don't, you know what I mean? Well, obviously I have a whole bunch of wrestling stuff to talk about, but hearing what you guys have to say is kind of having a back and forth conversation with you guys is ultimately what this podcast is all about. Obviously I come up with the main topic. Would love to just kind of have the chats just fill up. And we just like bang, bang, boom, just having fun because it's fun. I've watched shows on ESPN, Fox Sports. I've watched shows on YouTube where you kind of put in your thought or your chat or your opinion and it never really gets addressed. You know what I mean? And that's not going to happen. That's not going to happen here at the GSMC Sports Network. Every single time you put in the chat, us podcasters on the GSMC platform, we love it. We love it. We respect what you guys have to say. We know that you guys all have busy lives. We know that when you have a chance to unwind, sit down, have a drink, or if you're eating a meal, drinking a soda, it doesn't matter. We know that it takes time to sit down and watch a podcast. So 1,010%, we will never, ever take advantage of your free time. So send in those super chats, those super stickers because you guys are super awesome. Can't wait to dig on into it. So we have some WWE content leaving Hulu. This was pretty big. This was pretty big. I did a lot of research on it. I was, ultimately, I know Hulu isn't really as popular as Netflix. I get that. But at the same time, like, And this has something to do with something that's totally doesn't really have to do with wrestling. Talking to you as a person or as a fan of streaming services or as someone who's, working a job who's like, you know what, I only want to pay for one thing where I can kind of get something that's funny, something that's serious. Also, I really honestly want to see my WWE, want to see sports. Hulu has live sports. Hulu has a lot of shows. They have a lot of great shows. Netflix lately, has had a lot of, has got a lot of hate for having some shows that are, kind of stagnant, kind of the same storyline over and over and over again, which I feel like is, kind of benefits WWE at the same time, but then again, kind of hurts it. It benefits them in the aspect that, when you're looking on YouTube and you're scrolling to find a new show to kind of get into, and then you see this thing on Netflix, WWE, professional wrestling. Obviously, there's, it's not like a backstage look, which maybe WWE might do in the future. Maybe have like a not like a Total Divas, but like the opposite or the adjacent of that in terms of the male professional wrestling perspectives. But it's gonna give fans or it's gonna give Netflix subscribers, just something new, something raw, something innovative to kind of sink their teeth into. And professional wrestling was the steeple of sports entertainment from the 70s, the 80s, the 90s, the 2000s. And then as soon as streaming services started happening, HBO Max, you have Tubi, Roku TV, whatever, Disney Plus. People started coming up with TV shows like out of nowhere. It exploded. This world of digital era absolutely exploded. And, anybody who's anybody can get a TV show. Doesn't really necessarily mean it's going to be good. You see what WWE has to offer. Obviously, joining Netflix is going to be super, super. It's important. I feel like WWE is going to, definitely double. They're going to double their audience size after this deal goes through with Netflix at the beginning of the year. But I don't know. All in all, it's I feel like it's pretty cool. When WWE's deal with Fox ended, SmackDown left Hulu. Not all of WWE programming is leaving on Wednesday tomorrow. Shows leaving will be SmackDown, Raw, NXT, Level Up, Main Event, Superstars, Total Divas / Total Bellas, also Miz and Mrs. Available shows that will be on Hulu still from WWE will be AEW shows, Biography, WWE Legends, WWE's Most Wanted Treasures, WWE Rivals, Love and WWE, obviously, a Bianca Belair Montez Ford Hulu original. As of right now, there is no news that a new deal or extension is going to be reached out from WWE to Hulu. And WWE's ongoing partnership with Peacock, Raw, and SmackDown. Unfortunately, like I said, they're going to be on Netflix in a couple of months. So it's going to take a little patience. But right now, you can stream the episodes on Peacock, but it is 30 days after the initial broadcast. And that's not good. That rubs fans the wrong way. So much like you wanted to gain subscribers, fans, from going to WWE, having their name synonymous with one of the most popular streaming services in the history of the world. I know that sounds kind of far-fetched, but like Netflix was the first. When streaming services started, Netflix was like groundbreaking. It was like, oh my God, you don't have Netflix? Netflix is dope. You get all the cool TV shows, you get all the movies, you get a lot of independent. Something that I definitely give credit to Netflix to, definitely is having a lot of international movies from Bollywood to Nollywood to a lot of Asian cinema. You see, Korean, Japanese. You see, movies from, Grace from Greenland. You see a lot of movies, a lot of movies from France, from Australia, it doesn't matter. something that Netflix did really, really well is, kind of add this international kind of audience aspect to it. And that's why it has a lot of subscribers, a crap ton, a crap ton. Gotta be honest. WWE's ongoing partnership with Peacock. There's been a lot of comments on Twitter and Reddit about the news of WWE content leaving Hulu. We had somebody say, I always watch both Raw and SmackDown the morning after they air. Kind of, you know, I kind of feel for this fan because, like I said before, obviously I had the job now. I used to watch SmackDown or Raw the morning after, just like this person. I used to work 2 to 10, got home on a Friday night, and I was like, I'll watch it Saturday. Get home on a Monday night, be like, yeah, I'll watch it Tuesday. Gives me something to look forward to. Eat my breakfast, eat my lunch. You know what I mean? And watch it. But that's not available anymore. It's not just a click away. No, 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 it's not. You have to wait 30 days after its initial broadcast. And like I said, it's not tomorrow that Netflix is going to partner up with WWE to give them all this awesome content. It gives you this option of, all right, you could subscribe to YouTube TV, which I am doing right now. You can record it. I do record it, but I can imagine people who don't want to pay for YouTube TV, $70 a month in Southern California. It might be different somewhere else, but it's not all worth it because it's not like, oh, I watch YouTube TV all the time. You know what I mean? Because my kids, they watch Disney Plus. They, sometimes they watch YouTube shows like, Diana and Roma, shows like Blippi. Also, what's that other show that my son loves watching? Pororo, with the dinosaurs and stuff like that. And, it gets to the point where you're like, you know what? I don't need YouTube TV. You know what I mean? I don't need Spectrum, DirecTV, Dish. Is Dish even a thing right now? Like, it's crazy. But it's people that don't want to pay for cable because cable costs you an arm and a leg. So it's like, hey, you know what? I'm going to pay for streaming services that gives me what I want. And those who are subscribed to Hulu, and if you're a WWE fan, there's a lot of content that you will most likely miss out on because of this partnership ending, which kind of sucks. It kind of sucks. So then we had another comment on Twitter about the subject matter says, I guess I won't be able to keep up with WWE. Also, they said, I am unbelievably pissed off. They already had fans switch from the WWE network to Hulu. WWE has been a thing in my life and now has been the thing in my life. And now it's, kind of screwing it up, being that that's the only thing in their life that was consistent, that was fun, that was cool, that was innovative to watch. And, now it's gone and it sucks. I feel for that fan. And I got to be honest, 110%. I'm not going to be like, all right, now I'm going to subscribe to Netflix just to watch WWE. The people could be missing out on WWE. People could be quitting their addiction to WWE. Mostly because, it's not, and it's kind of sad to say because mostly in America, we kind of rely on this a lot, especially in streaming services. It's not convenient. It's not easy. It's not simple. If you make things like, where you kind of have to jump through hoops to get it, 9 times out of 10, someone's going to be like, all right, then I guess I just won't watch it anymore. Maybe that's just me as a fan, obviously this is my perspective, but, I don't know. It just doesn't really seem like, I don't know, if you're paying for a whole bunch of other streaming services and it's it's kind of crazy. According to Forbes statistics, Americans spend an average of 3 hours and 9 minutes a day streaming digital media. Netflix obviously dominates with 260.28 million subscribers. That's crazy. Forbes home to ask respondents which streaming services they are most likely to cancel if they raise their price. Number one, we got Disney Plus at 44%. Number two, we got Hulu at 40%. Number three, we got ESPN Plus with 35%. And then number four, we have Netflix at 33%. It's a 7% discrepancy. It's not, it's not that crazy. It's, not much of a difference. But at the same time, if you want WWE to go global, international, you have to make it easier for the fans to kind of get a hold of the content. And that's something that, it's not rocket science. It's not rocket science. But ultimately, I feel like WWE is kind of, I feel like they're going to fix it. Obviously, right now, tomorrow, you're no longer going to see WWE content on Hulu. So if you're a Hulu subscriber, I apologize. Just try to find a way to watch the content because right now WWE is firing on all cylinders under the Triple H Paul Levesque era. It's getting to the point where you can't really miss an episode, or you're gonna miss a book. All right, guys. Our next segment, we're going to talk about wrestlers with short title reigns. Last night we talked about Nia Jax. Nia Jax's, second WWE Tag Team Women's Championship, not tag team, WWE Women's World Championship reign, possibly, ending abruptly. Now we're going to talk about some of the wrestlers in the past that has had their title runs end abruptly. So, hey, stay tuned. Grab your favorite snack, grab your favorite popcorn, and we will be right back.
For the best and latest podcasts available anywhere, go to the podcast app on your cell phone and type in GSMC to access free content-rich podcasts on health and wellness, book reviews, sports, entertainment, relationships, social media, movies, technology, finance, and even weird news. Subscribe and download the GSMC Podcast Network's family of shows, available everywhere podcasts are found.
And we are back with the GSMC Wrestling Laureate podcast brought to you by the GSMC Sports Network. I'm your host, Eric Rodriguez, here every Monday through Friday, 8 p.m. Pacific time. On the GSMC Sports Network, here to talk about everything in terms of professional wrestling, all the action inside and out. We also talk about backstage news drama, superstar inactivity statuses, injury updates. We also talk about, contract negotiations, extensions, new signings from promotions from WWE to AEW, Ring of Honor to TNA, New Japan Professional Wrestling to the CMLL, GCW, also to the NWA. If it makes major news headlines in the world of wrestling, we talk about it here on the show, 1,010%. So thank you for tuning in. Sorry, excuse me. I ate dinner before I started this podcast, so excuse the burps. I'm just kidding. Kind of reflect on what we talked about real quick. We talked about our WWE Monday Night Raw review, our WWE NXT preview. We talked about WWE content leaving Hulu, and now we're going to talk about some wrestlers with some short title runs. All right, let's make it happen. Like I said, what kind of made me talk about this was, you had WWE kind of flirting around with the idea that Nia Jax might not be the person to keep the title on. I ultimately disagree with that. I feel like she's been within the company for so damn long that she deserves a title reign. She's been committed. She's been committed to the company. It really, in a time where she was off of TV, in terms of the World Wrestling Entertainment, a lot of people thought she would wind up elsewhere. But she came back. She's a very loyal person. She puts over other superstars. Obviously, if you are, if you have the physique of Nia Jax, if you're not demanding a title shot, because the women's division is a lot different than the men's. A lot different from the men's. You know what I mean? You don't see Braun Strowman. You don't see Bronson Reed. Back in the day, you didn't see the Big Show. Viscera, you didn't see, Gene Snitsky come up and you were like, you know what? I'm big, I'm huge, I'm bad. My physicality is impeccable. Give me a title run. Give me a title run, or I'm going to leave. I'm going to leave. Simple as that. Nia Jax didn't do that. She didn't do that. She stayed, she stays very loyal. So I hope this second title run isn't going to end abruptly, much like, her first one kind of did. So obviously I hope, hope the best for her. I feel like she's going to be amazing. So let's go ahead and talk about these wrestlers with some short title runs. WWE has had some interesting choices, especially during the Vince McMahon era. For WWE champions, perhaps some reigns may have ended earlier than intended. Due to an untimely injury, due to an impromptu matches, creativity, spot nanny, also Money in the Bank cash-ins. Unpredictability in wrestling, it's a must, but at the same time, it could be bad. It could be bad. It could be bad. I'm sorry. You know what I mean? Here are some champions who has had some short title reigns. First, we're going to talk some Christian Cage. We're going to talk about Christian Cage. Left the WWE in 2005, just to return 4 years later in 2009. To complete his, Grand Slam championship. He's achieved all championship status quo tag team mid card, and all he needed was a world championship run to be considered as a Hall of Famer in WWE. He won, but ultimately he dropped the belt to Orton. And the following SmackDown, and he regained it. He regained it just to lose it to Randy Orton once again. So kind of sucks, kind of terrible. But Christian Cage, Captain Charisma. Oh my God, I loved Christian Cage. I thought it was pretty cool. I thought, I don't know, that I was a dork. I'm still a dork, gotta be honest. We also have Jeff Hardy. Jeff Hardy had a lot of short title reigns. He defeated Edge and Triple H at Armageddon 2008. 6 weeks later, he dropped the title to Edge at the Royal Rumble. And then he defeated Edge in 2009. Which was short-lived because CM Punk cashed in his Money in the Bank, which started CM Punk. It started the new day and age of this guy called CM Punk. Obviously, a couple of years later, he would drop that pipe bomb and leaving WWE. Extremely upset. But Jeff Hardy, after he left, essentially like the Hardy Boys, he didn't really leave because it's not like they kind of had this crazy feud between him and his brother, but they're like, you know what, Jeff and Matt, they don't like each other anymore. They're never going to be tag team champions. It wasn't like that. It wasn't like that. They gave Jeff a shot because he was so over with the fans as one half of like a tag team, kind of like where you're seeing with Montez Ford, kind of like where you're seeing why the people want to pull Xavier Woods, why they pulled Jey Uso from Jimmy Uso from the bloodline. Sometimes these gambles, they pay off. Sometimes they pay off, but then most of the time, they don't. They don't. And I got to be honest, very rarely you see a member of a glorified tag team after they leave the tag team, provided no injury, no spot nanny, no anything like that. They do good. You know what I mean? It's very rare. But at the same time, as a WWE creative officer, it's not like you can't afford to take those shots. You kind of have to be man enough to take those shots and be like, you know what? I have a way. I have a storyline that can definitely draw Kofi Kingston away from Xavier Woods, Jeff Hardy away from Matt Hardy, Edge away from Christian, Bubba Ray Dudley away from Devonta. Most of the time it doesn't work, but then sometimes it does. So, I don't know. It's kind of crazy. Next, we have WWE Women's Champion Lita. Suffered injuries like a plague. She was plagued with injuries throughout her whole entire career. Kind of sucks because I feel like she could have been, well, she was great. It's not like she wasn't. She could have been much greater. I got to believe 1,010%. She broke her neck in 2002 in a match against Trish Stratus. But she did beat her in the main event on Monday Night Raw to win the championship. Only to drop the championship to Trish back in New Year's Revolution in 2005. Next, we got Rey Mysterio. Rey Mysterio was a WWE champion in under 2 hours. It was crazy. John Cena invokes his rematch clause against Rey Mysterio, which sucked. Once again, like what I love to talk about in WWE, the way they've kind of handled these, Rey Mysterio's career, like he is a smaller superstar. If you're too small or if you're too big in the world of professional wrestling, you're going to get some interesting bookings. I got to be honest, because at the time, people are like, you know what? I don't really know what to do with this guy. Rey Mysterio was super over in terms of WWE, but I don't know, under 2 hours. That's insane. That's insane. Next, we have Edge. Edge, the WWE Hall of Famer. And, an 11-time World Heavyweight Champion, 4-time WWE Championship reigns. He had 3 reigns, which lasted 21 days as WWE Champion. Excuse me. He had 1 reign that lasted 72 days. Not bad, not bad. 72-day reign. And that's it. And that's it for the Rated R Superstar. You know, the WWE Championship wasn't really his style. A lot of people believe that people who have the WWE Championship is like the face of WWE. Why the World Heavyweight Champion is kind of like, kind of like the side person, I guess you can believe it or not. But ultimately, Edge was a better World Heavyweight Champion. And, gotta respect that. Gotta respect that. Next, we got Sasha Banks. Sasha Banks had a short. She had, short WWE Raw Women's Championship title reigns. Her first title defense every single time. She always lost. Kind of crazy. She had 2 reigns, which lasted 26 days. 1 reign that lasted 27 days. 1 reign that lasted 19. And 1 title reign that lasted 8 days. Losing, at the first chance you get, first person trying to attack, trying to get your title. And it just kind of sucks. It's terrible. Obviously, not really much to say about this. But, maybe a reason why she left WWE to begin with. Next, we have Dave Bautista, former Evolution member. The WWE Championship reigns were kind of, underwhelming as opposed to his World Heavyweight titleship reigns. He suffered a bicep injury, forcing him to relinquish the title. Once when he held the title again for a measly 5 weeks before dropping it to John Cena. So once again, a lot of just dropping it, picking it up, dropping it. He was better as a World Heavyweight Champion to begin with. So I can't really, when in terms of, I don't think this is a blemish on Dave Bautista's, career in WWE. I feel like ultimately, all in all, it was very, very good. But as a WWE champion, it just never really happened. It just never really happened. But that, like I said, doesn't really, control the narrative of how WWE fans should feel, because Dave Bautista was magic inside the ring. In 2005 to 2007 or 8, he was the face of SmackDown. John Cena was the face of Raw. So, I think Dave Bautista is still very, very, very good. Kind of crazy to see him leave professional wrestling so fast, but obviously, he started his MMA career. Didn't really work out, never really made his way back to WWE. Not really like that. A couple of matches, but it just wasn't really the same. And now he's doing movies, and obviously, you know him from Drax, from, Guardians of the Galaxy, which he does a very, very good job. Very, very good job. And lastly, going to keep this brief, but, WWE Hall of Famer with a short title run. You got to think of Mankind. Mankind had 3 WWE Championship runs where, he had 1 that lasted 20 days. That was the most, actually, which is kind of crazy, kind of sad. 1 15 days and 1 24 hours. Mankind, showing why he should be the 24/7 champion. Which kind of sucks because, during that time, you kind of had that McMahon Helmsley era kind of coming into fruition, a new day and age with D-Generation X, with the Road Dogg Jesse James, and a badass Billy Gunn, and X-Pac. And then, he lost the match. I don't know. It is what it is. Obviously, it is professional wrestling, so I'm not going to get, too worked up about it, but I don't know. It's just kind of crazy to see in the future how these title reigns kind of compare to people that a new generation of professional wrestling. All right, next we're gonna jump into my DeLorean, guys. We're gonna gun it to 88 miles per hour to this day of September 24th. I'm gonna take you guys in this time machine to talk about some events that's happened. So, grab your favorite snack, grab your favorite ice cold beverage. For me, ice cold beverage, I'm gonna grab myself an ice cold beer. Root beer, that is. I'm just kidding. No. But no, anyways, we'll be back, so do not go anywhere. All right, we are back with the GSMC Wrestling Laureate podcast, brought to you by the GSMC Sports Network. I'm your host, Eric Rodriguez, here every Monday through Friday, 8 p.m. Pacific time, 11 p.m. Eastern time on the GSMC Sports Network, talking about the thing that we love most in this world, professional wrestling. So just kind of reflect on what we talked about. We had our WWE Monday Night Raw review, we had our WWE NXT preview, and then we talked about sorry, excuse me. We talked about WWE content leaving Hulu. Our last segment, we talked about some short title reigns for WWE Hall of Famers / superstars. And now we're going to talk about something that we talk about in my last segment on every Tuesday, our Tuesdays today in wrestling history. The good thing about today, guys, I know this might sound, actually, no, this is pretty damn important. It's pretty damn important. Nobody's died on this day. I got to be honest. I'm not trying to shed a grim light on the show, but for that, let's get a round of applause. Let's get a round of applause. No one on the day of, obviously this could be missing because, I only have like one source when I watch my, I have a couple sources when I talk about, today's and Tuesdays today in wrestling history. But as of right now, I obviously in the chat, if you know a wrestler who's passed away on this day, make sure, you shoot it in the comment section. But as of right now, there's no one who passed away today. So I don't know. It's it's a new day. Yes, it is. I'm just kidding. No, we have some notable wrestling, birthday today. We had the leader of the Pure Fusion Collective, Sonya Deville. Happy birthday, Sonya. I hope you have a great birthday. Probably, Shayna Baszler, Zoe Stark. It's not going that well as you thought it was going to be, but it's okay. It's okay. Maybe on that birthday cake, the candles that you're blowing out tonight, you can make one wish to make this Pure Fusion Collective storyline actually work. I'm just kidding. Love Sonya Deville. Think she's a great wrestler. We also have Shane Thorne. Sonya Deville is ninth. Oh my God. We're going back to Sonya Deville real quick. 1993. Damn, she's 1 year younger than I am. That's crazy. Wow. I was born in 1992. So, of course, the 90s babies are always the best babies. I'm sorry. And I hate to turn this podcast into something of subjectivity or I'll be like, oh, 90s babies, are you serious right now? I never grew up during the age of the internet. And I don't consider myself flawed, or I don't consider myself, unlucky. I consider myself lucky. You didn't have cell phones. You didn't really have computers. You didn't have games. Social media came out when I was a senior in high school. I honestly, liked the way I grew up. I thought it was pretty badass. And, I feel bad for kids nowadays with the pressures of social media, posting and all this, anxiety and, all this self-image problems. It's hard. It sucks. But, I don't know, it's kind of crazy that she was born, a year after me, and kind of crazy. We also have birthdays. We got Shane Thorne, Christopher Nowinski, also Stephanie McMahon, the wife of Triple H Paul Levesque, the Triple H Paul Levesque era. Happy birthday, Stephanie McMahon. Obviously, I doubt you're watching this podcast, but if you are, just know that we love and appreciate everything that your husband is doing in the world of professional wrestling. Good luck with your dad's situation. I'm just kidding. No, I'm not going to mention that. Not going to mention that. Stop it. Stop it. Don't make me mention that. Damn it. But anyways, it's all gravy. It's all water under the table. It's all water under the bridge. So yeah, today in wrestling history. 1979 on WWS Madison Square Garden show from New York, the main event of Nikola Volkov versus Chief Jay Strongbow. Ended in a draw after the show overran the 11 p.m. curfew in place of Madison Square Garden. Officially known as the curfew draw, early in the night, Bob Backlund defeated Pat Patterson in a steel cage match. In 1984, we saw Greg Valentine defeat Tito Santino in London, Ontario, Canada, to win the WWF Intercontinental Championship in 1990. Herb Abrams Universal Wrestling Federation held their first ever television tapings in Reseda, California, a stacked 21 match card. Wow. Featured an impressive list of talented superstars, including Cactus Jack, Paul Orndorff, also, Dr. Death, Steve Williams, and B. Brian Blair, but the attendance at ringside was just 450 people. In 1996, WWF presented In Your House 3, triple header from Signal, Michigan. The main event was a winner-take-all match featuring Diesel, the WWF champion, and Shawn Michaels, the Intercontinental champion, against the tag team champions Owen Hart and Yokozuna. Due to Hart going missing, it was decided that the British Bulldog would take his place. However, Owen Hart made his appearance before the end of the match and ended up being the one, who pinned Big Daddy Cool Diesel and Shawn Michaels to become the one who holds all the gold. The next night on Monday Night Raw, it would be decided that Owen Hart wasn't legal in the match. The results were avoided. That the tag belts returned to Hart and to Yokozuna, which is kind of crazy, In 2000, WWF Armageddon was live from the First Union Center in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. Matt and Jeff Hardy defeated Edge and Christian in a steel cage match to win the tag team titles with a slight assist from Lita. Elsewhere in the night, you saw Eddie Guerrero defeat Rikishi by disqualification to keep possession of the WW. No, wait, no, it's not. Okay, of the keep possession of the Intercontinental. I thought it was either the European or the Intercontinental of the Intercontinental Championship. Kind of crazy. And returning Stone Cold Steve Austin gave a stunner to Steve Blackman, followed by 3 stunners to Shane McMahon. The main event was a fatal 4-way match, and The Rock retained the WWE Championship against The Undertaker, against Kane, and against the man who he would pin at the end of the match, Chris Benoit. In 2005, Ring of Honor Survival of the Fittest had its 6-way elimination main event in which Roderick Strong defeated Christopher Daniels, Samoa Joe, Austin Aries, Colt Cabana, and Jay Lethal in 50 minutes. Each wrestler had won matches earlier in the evening to get into that final position, which was, I think that's kind of cool. I thought that was pretty badass. 2006, TNA No Surrender came from the Impact Zone in Orlando, Florida. The main event was billed as as fans entered the. No, they didn't. No. Okay, here we go. As fans, the revenge on the lumberjack match between Samoa Joe and Jeff Jarrett, with 18 fans surrounding the ring equipped with weapons or leather straps. Joe would win the match via pinfall. This wasn't the most unique match on the card, as earlier in the night there was a 16-man triple chance tag team battle royal. When a wrestler got eliminated over the top rope, they would stay at ringside until their partner was eliminated. Then both would ring at ringside. However, when the match got down to the last 2 wrestlers, their partners would rejoin the action, and it would become a standard 2-on-2 tag team match. Andy Douglas and Chase Stevens won the match and became the number 1 contenders for the tag team belts. The card also featured on the Wild Ultimate X match, that's actually pretty cool. Just imagine that happening in WWE. Definitely a lot of new innovative ideas that I feel like WWE should pick up from independent wrestling like TNA or Ring of Honor, also New Japan Professional Wrestling. There's a lot of examples of matches that could possibly go right if you kind of put the right superstars within the mix. And this could definitely be one of them. That would be pretty badass. And obviously in terms of today's in wrestling history, I remember watching highlights of that Unforgiven match in Philadelphia. It was cool. Obviously, with the gloom over the whole Chris Benoit thing, and I can't mention too much of it, so I'm going to move on before, but I don't know. It's just, I remember watching that match and I remember I don't know, I was astonished. You know what I mean? I thought it was actually pretty cool. All right, guys. So thank you so much for tuning in to the GSMC Wrestling Laureate podcast. That's it for me tonight. We have tomorrow. Remember to join in at the GSMC Sports Network at 8 p.m. Pacific time, 11 p.m. Eastern. Here to talk about everything in terms of professional wrestling. Remember to Superman punch that like a subscribe button to the show. Follow the show. Follow the network here at the GSMC Sports Network. We do love a lot of peace, love, and positivity 1,010% of the time. So go ahead and let's do it. And like I always say, if I have not made you a wrestling fan by now, why not check out my boy Tommy's podcast Every Saturday, we got crazy college football happening. So make sure you tune into the GSMC College Football Podcast. We got the WNBA playoffs. So tune into Nelson's podcast, the GSMC Basketball Podcast. We also got 2 football podcasts. If you're a fan of the NFL, want to find out how your team is doing, any news, any breaking news within the NFL industry, tune into the Chip Shot Football Podcast with Manny, the GSMC Football Podcast with my boy Kenneth. Kenny, whatever, I call him Kenny because we're that close. We're that cool. I'm just kidding. You call him Kenny, whatever. When football comes around the corner, everybody's working on their fantasy sheets. Everybody's deciding who to start, who to sit them, who to pick up off the waiver wire. Fear no more. Watch the GSMC Fantasy Sports Podcast with my boy Chris Shepard. Find out all the know-how to make sure your team becomes the WWE champion in your league. So make sure you do that. We got, we also have all around sports. We got Sports by GSMC with Jeremy. We got the GSMC Sports Podcast with my boy TJ. So make sure you tune into all those awesome shows. I love these guys. These guys they're my dogs. They're my wolf pack. They're my ride or dies. I'm just kidding. Moving on. Getting a little over myself. I got my man Emmerich with the GSMC Soccer Podcast, started in 13 minutes. If you're a soccer fan, or if you're starting to become a soccer fan, this is the first place to start. 1,010%. This is, if you want to find out all the major headlines happening in soccer, in the world of soccer, tune into Emmerich podcast on the GSMC Sports Network every night at 9:30 Pacific time, 12:30 Eastern time. So make sure you tune into that. Once again, thank you guys so much. Hope you guys had an amazing Tuesday. Hope you guys have an incredible Wednesday. Stay beautiful, but most importantly, love you.
Let's go. I wake up to a little bit of drool on my pillow, feel like it's gonna be a bad day. Yeah, I'm tired of shit, and the coffee ain't